Welcome to BD4, an RJ Carbone podcast. BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4 is a 5-star show on Apple Podcasts, also available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. So thanks for stopping by, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Champion of the world, turning, looking, see ya!
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied!
Time! Penetrates, creates, and showing some dexterity as well with the left hand.
Yankees win!
Hello there. Welcome. Welcome back. How we doing, everybody? Episode 432 of the podcast. Welcome to BD4. Man, that was a big-ass voice crack. Welcome to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. We'll probably have an MMA episode out this weekend or early next week. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the show. You're listening to BD4. If you want to find us, well, you're already here, but if you want other platforms than the one you're on, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where you can watch us, as well as YouTube and many other platforms. You can find me on social media. Facebook, BD4, Instagram, at Rob J. Carbone. I'm also on Twitter, at BD4Pod, or you can follow my other Twitter account, which I'm pretty active on, at RJ Carbone BD4. All lowercase. Thanks for stopping by. We're talking Knicks in this episode. Definitely doing that. First and foremost, as I'm recording, technically it's past midnight now, but today was Veterans Day, November 11th. So happy Veterans Day to all of you who served, to all of you who have family members who did serve, or just very close to those who serve. Yeah. I am very appreciative every day. I try to take time and appreciate that fact. It's funny, man, because I go to a very liberal school, and the students are young, and I'm 27, so I'm still trying to finish school, and I'm hanging out with fucking 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids, and the professors always cater to the young students and stuff. And you would think they know that the more they do that, the less people are going to turn. It's all catering to the younger generation and their opinions is only just going to make them feel better. It's not going to get anybody to join your side. And so I just find that funny. Because I bring this up because it's Veterans Day, and every kind of holiday, my school website, they'll decorate it for that holiday. But it's always made up holidays. It's never legit holidays. And I looked on their site today. I'm like, did they do anything for Veterans Day? I doubt it. And they didn't. See, I'm ranting on bullshit that nobody cares about again. But happy Veterans Day. Seriously, just be sure to take the time. Every day we should. Just to thank, if you see anybody, thank them for their service, and just think about how much of a sacrifice they've been making for you and have made. I was on social media earlier, and I read that Albert Pujols' 700th home run ball, it only sold for $360,000. Is it me, or is that very low? It was number 700. and he's retiring. And there are only, what, 3 others? Is it Ruth, Aaron, and... Is it just Ruth, Aaron, and Bonds? So, yeah. There were only 3 others before Pujols. $360K? It just doesn't seem like that's right. It's probably less from what Judge's ball is getting sold for. Right? Which is crazy because, to me, the 700 is way more iconic. But only $360K, I just found that odd. I got to read more up on that thing. I don't know. Did you guys see the Astros GM was fired for philosophical differences? There's got to be more to that story. We got Cashman going on a decade and a half soon without a ring, and he's still here. I saw that. I was like, what? And normally I would, be like, oh, the Yankees should be all over this guy. But Cashman's going to be back. UFC 281 is tomorrow, so again, I'll have a recap on that sometime early next week, hopefully. Hopefully this weekend I can get it done, but we'll see. I got a lot going on with the Knicks. I got to record their podcasts. I got to do some work with school. I got a lot going on, but I'm going to try to get it soon because I haven't done MMA in forever on the show. I'll try to have a guest on the show for that too. One of my buddies from down the street, Leo, who's been on the show before. He's got his own pod, Say No More podcast. But UFC 281 is going to be sick. It's at the Garden. The Izzy Adesanya fight going up against Pereira. Who knows, man? A lot of people think Alex is going to win that. Obviously, he beat him and he knocked him out in kickboxing, pro kickboxing. But UFC is a different animal. But Alex, the dude looks scary. He looks determined, and I wouldn't be shocked if he won, but I still think I'm going to give it to Izzy. The Michael Chandler-Dustin Poirier fight has potential to be fight of the night, to be absolute fireworks. And there are some other good names on that card. Obviously, Carla Esparza defending her title against Wei Li. Hopefully it's a more exciting fight for her this time, but I just want to see fun. I just want to see a good fight. I just want to see, them stay healthy and do their thing. But yeah, I'm excited for the main card. I'm rooting for the Meatball Molly Aaron Blanchfield fight. Used to be a fan of Meatball Molly. It kind of bothers me now. I don't know what it is. I think I followed her on Instagram for a while, and I don't know. I think it's more the person she's fighting, Aaron Blanchfield, is from Jersey. So I think I just got to root for the Jersey girl. That's going to be a good fight, I hope. There's a lot of cool... Frankie Edgar, another Jersey guy on the card. I think this is his last go-around, so it's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. But we're talking Knicks tonight, and the Knicks came out in their new city uniforms. I like them. I might have to get one for Christmas. I might have to put that on my old list for Santa Claus. No, I don't mind them. I think the new city uniforms last year were pretty decent. A lot of people didn't like the fire department circle thing. I thought that was cool. But this year I like them even better. I like how they have the on the side they got the blue, kind of like it's the same stripe, same design. It's like a callback to the 90s and early 2000s Knicks road uniforms. So that's pretty cool. That was my favorite part of the uniform was that little design on the side. It's definitely a little throwback to the 90s and 2000s uniforms. But yeah, the Knicks, that's what we're talking about. Coming into this night, I didn't record after the Nets game because, there was nothing. It was just so bad. I didn't have the energy. But what we're going to do, don't worry, we're going to be on our horse, and we're going to be doing at least 80% of the games at the end of the year when it's all said and done. But they took care of the Pistons yet again. The Pistons are a terrible team. And the Knicks are an average team. So the Knicks took care of them. Back at MSG, looking to go back to 500, and they did. With a 121-112 victory. It was almost bad, though. The Pistons got some big efforts from Bogdanovich, who scored 25, but also Jaden Ivey, Alec Burks, and that kid, is it Livers? Livers? They had Burks and Livers knocking down big-time shots in the fourth quarter. Alec Burks, I think it was his debut this season. Former Knick legend, Knick point guard. He actually closed. He was in the closing lineup over Jaden Ivey. Pretty interesting. But yeah, it got a little uncomfortable there. Fortunately, the Knicks pulled away, and they were led by the mid-3 with some big contributions from R.J. Barrett, from Jalen Brunson, and from Julius Randle. Bench was quiet, but you did have IQ come off the bench and come through in big spots late in the game on both sides of the ball, a couple of plays. You had Brunson scoring in the fourth quarter, Randle grabbing big rebounds late in the fourth. You had RJ with the finishing. So the Knicks win. On the other side of the ball, I didn't love the defense. You can't be giving up 100-plus points every night. Or, I know that's, 100's not as much anymore. You can't be giving up 105, 110, whatever, every night. And the Knicks just continue to leave the perimeter open, getting beat on the dribble drive. Just a lot of open looks still tonight. A lot of open looks on the perimeter. Now, Detroit happens to absolutely suck, so it didn't harm them to a point where they lost, but still way too many open looks on the 3. Guys just taking that step or two inside, cheating off their man because they're so worried about the paint. Overhelping and just leading to open looks, being susceptible to open shooters. Then you also had 41 attempts from the free throw line from the Pistons. I know they're a team who gets there a lot. I get that, but that's still way too many. It kind of took the pace away, especially early on. And the Knicks, they continue to shoot the ball poor themselves. They were 25% on their 3. We'll get to the good, but they were only 25% on their 3s tonight. 45% altogether from the field. But it's something that's just going to have to improve. It's going to have to. For the Knicks to remain competitive this year, they can't continue to be 26th in three-point percentage. They are right now, especially if they're going to take the 9th most. If you want to be even 500, I don't think you can last being 26th in three-pointers. It's got to be at least where they were last year, right in the middle of the pack. Julius Randle, who was 0 for 7 tonight. Ever since he broke his career high against Minnesota, he's stopped being a bruiser and he thinks he's Steph Curry. But I just think it's going to come down to 2 guys, honestly. I think the only 2 guys you could look at on this team and say they're shooters, Evan Fournier, and he's going to have to adjust. He's going to have to adjust to his new bench role where he's only getting 10, 12 minutes and find a rhythm. He was 0 for 3 from downtown tonight, and he doesn't look comfortable. The body language doesn't look great. You could tell he doesn't want to come off the bench, but he's going to have to adjust because he can't play good enough defense to stay in the lineup. And right now, this Knicks team, their biggest weakness, believe it or not, is their perimeter defense. And we can't have Fournier out there next to Randle with Brunson being small. RJ still up and down as a defender. You just can't have that. So he's going to have to be limited. And if he's not hitting his shots and he hasn't been knocking down his 3s this year anyway, what good are you? So he's going to have to find it on the bench right now. He's going to have to find a way to creep back into the rotation, or whatever minutes he does get, he's going to have to start knocking down his shots because we can't have the Knicks shooting 25% every night. And it's also going to come down to Quentin Grimes being healthy. because he's the other guy on this team who's got the potential to be similar to Fournier, but with defense. Which, by the way, Grimes, he looked pretty good tonight. He looked healthy out there. He moved well. He got into the paint a few times, knocked down a three, played defense, moved off the ball pretty well. But yeah, it's going to be Fournier and Grimes as the only two sharpshooters. We're going to have to be the guys to help this team's three-point shooting. Grimes hasn't played much, and Fournier hasn't played well. So we'll see how that shapes up. But yeah, the Knicks did still win the game. They scored 121 points, which is a lot of points, because I thought they did everything else well. I thought they moved the ball extremely well and were able to generate open looks. They just weren't falling tonight. At least early on, they weren't. You had that one possession that was in the first quarter, where it might have been the first or second quarter, where the Knicks kept getting the offensive rebound over and over, but they kept missing shots, missing threes, jumpers. So they made their foul shooting. They were 27 for 29 at the foul line. Very good there. They took care of the paint. They won the boards by +4. They were +7 second chance points, and they were +6 points in the paint. And also, you score 121 points because the Pistons are an abominable defensive team. So that helps too. But I did like what I saw offensively. I liked what I saw from a few guys offensively. And we'll talk about it. Just going to head to break real quickly. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey guys, so if you are a listener of the podcast often and you want to know where to find me on social media, you can find me on Facebook at BD4. You can find me on Twitter at BD4Pod. And you can also find me on Instagram at RobJCarbone. BD4 is located on many different platforms. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, and if you do there, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and review. You can listen to it on Spotify, but you can also watch the podcast on both Spotify and YouTube. BD4 is available on many other platforms as well. All you got to do is search it up. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and much more. All right, welcome back to the show, episode 432 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4. You know what? Let's just start off with RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett wins a bing bong ball tonight.
Bing bang.
Yeah. 30 points, 5 boards, 5 assists for RJ. He was great. 10 for 17 from the floor. 3 for 8 from 3. 7 of 8 at the free throw stripe. He was a +3 altogether in 38 minutes. On the season, he got his numbers to go all the way up to 20 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 44% from the field, which is fine. 31 from 3. That percentage goes up, continues to go up, slowly but surely. 78 at the line, averaging a steal and 2 turnovers across 12 games. So, he's found it, man. RJ's found it. We're going to count that Nets game for everybody as just thrown out the window. Since, he struggled early to start, RJ has definitely found a consistency. He was attacking all night, but also finishing and playmaking off those drives too. We know he can get to the rim. That's why this kid is in the league. He can get to the rim as good as anyone with that bully ball. Right? Strong upper body. Very methodical with how he gets there. He's got the size for those mismatches when he plays down a spot. Abused Joseph a few times tonight. Killian Hayes. It's always about finishing when he gets to the rim. Finishing at the rim. The right hand has been a problem. But just overall, the consistency under the basket, it's hit or miss. Sometimes his touch looks incredible. Other times, awful. Tonight, though, he was on, making smart drives and finishing very nicely. Some nice-looking drives, nice-looking finishes. Off the glass, finger rolls, nice scoops, underhand. And he's having a career. He's shooting a career high in the restricted area this season. I checked before the Nets game. I think it was 63%. Usually he hovers from 50 to 55. My rule of thumb is you want to at least be 60%. So he's been fine inside the restricted area. His finishing has improved this year. It's been a career high. But he was also making good passes on the drive. Patient, smart passes. He found Quickley on that drive late fourth quarter. And I think he also found him in the first quarter, too. He found Brunson a few times tonight. He continues to knock down his free throws, too. If we're talking about career highs, he's 78% on the season. Made some critical ones down the stretch tonight. So he was thriving in the aspects that we always like to see RJ thrive in, right? We want to see how he looks finishing at the rim. He did that well tonight. We always like to see how he does on the line with his efficiency, his jump shooting. Can he knock down the open ones? Can he knock down the free throws? He was doing that tonight. And he was also playing some pretty good defense. And that's the thing that we always like to see because we want to see when he's going to continue to take that next step. To me, it always feels like he's been okay year to year, but still struggles with the help defense. He still struggles off ball. He's getting caught watching the ball, and he'll get beat back door a lot. But tonight I thought his defense was good. So when he puts together these all-around nights, it's always a positive. And tonight I thought R.J. Barrett definitely deserved a shout-out. He gets a bing-bong game ball. Who else should we talk about? Julius Randle. Julius looked good tonight. He scored 21 points on the game. 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 for 18, 0 for 7 from 3. So he was 8 for 11 from the 2-point land. He was okay tonight, man. He scored his points. He made some nice passes, only had 2 turnovers. Got his rebounds, especially late in the fourth quarter. Some big ones. Exerting a lot of effort. Good second chance points as well from him. He was active off the ball tonight, which is always a nice plus. He ran the floor well, which is always a thing we're looking for in him. And he's done that more this year. But he's got to cut down the 3-point shot if he's not hitting. He did have a few open ones, wide open ones, where they continue to leave him open because they read the scouting report, which he couldn't knock down. But on nights where he's not hitting them, like tonight, I think he's got to be that bruiser more, and he's got to use the paint, use the post. He shouldn't be averaging more than 3 a game. I know it's different to go out there and play, and you just play what comes naturally to you, but he's not a guy you really need shooting threes. I think the 3-point Julius is gone. That's way in the past. 2020 was an outlier season for him. I think he still can be a good player, and he has been overall a good positive player this year for the Knicks, much more so than last year. But the 3-point shooting, he can't still think he's 2020 Julius. I debated giving Jalen Brunson a bing-bong game ball tonight. I made the entire graphic because I had him there. And then I took it away last minute. I'm like, I just have to give it to RJ because he got the 30-piece. But Jalen Brunson, if there was ever a co-MVP, I mean, he was great, man. 26 points, 7 assists, 0 turnovers, again. 4 steals, 8 for 16 shooting overall, 2 for 3 at the line. 2 for 5 at the 3-point line, and 8 of 8 at the free throw line. Having a guy like him late in the game, can rely on him is so big. Having that momentum stopper for the other to stop the momentum of the other team. And pardon me, I'm just going to try to bring up a stat real quick on Brunson. I'll bring it up in a second. I'll talk about it. Hold on. Oh, Basketball Reference is so buggy now. They try to put these highlight tapes in there. It just makes the page slow. But yeah, he's anytime the Pistons made a run in the fourth quarter, Brunson was sure to stop it. He scored 9 points in the final period. But just having that closer makes such a difference. We didn't have that for a few years. Not having to rely on Julius Randle, my goodness, that's a plus. Even the last couple of nights, I feel like it's been Randle a lot late and it hasn't worked. But tonight, Brunson took it back. It's just good to have a reliable guy down the stretch. And again, I can't tell you how much times I say this, but Brunson is Mr. Efficient. He's like a mini Chris Paul. Shoots efficiently, doesn't turn it over, gets a lot of assists. He also had 4 steals tonight. He had 4 steals. So add that to he's continuing to be active defensively, active hands in the passing lanes, but having a guy who can be as efficient as him is why the offense has looked good this year. Let's be honest, Tom Thibodeau's no defensive wizard or offensive wizard. His offense has thrived this year because he's got a point guard. He's got Jalen Brunson doing really well, orchestrating and getting everybody else to click. He's just such a good decision maker with the ball in his hands. Especially in the fourth quarter tonight with not many ball creators out there by his side, he took the role. And you saw him tonight hitting Randle on the break. He hit Randle on a half-court baseline cut. So it was great. And I have these stats up because I'm going to find this out. At the end of the year, I'm going to put a note in my phone or something because I want to go back at the end of the year and check up on how many games Brunson finishes with when he shoots 50% from the floor and has 2 or less turnovers. So I want to guess that he's had 3 of those already. But let's see. I want to see how many he's had. So let's go to turnovers first. 2 or less. This is going to be fun. Okay, so we've had... Let's see, how many games so far this year where he's shot 50% and had 2 or less turnovers? 50% right here. Okay, so 3. Counting tonight, it's been 3 games so far out of 12 where he's both shot 50% and had 2 or less. That's crazy already. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason this guy's been racking up the bing bong balls. And he was going to get another one tonight, but I just feel like RJ was a little better. And you have to give it to the guy with a 30-piece. But Brunson continues to be great for the Knicks. I'm going to give another bing bong game ball. This one obviously is going to one of the players off the bench tonight. And that's Immanuel Quickley.
Bing bang.
I thought Quickley was fine. The bench overall wasn't great, but Quickley, 8 points, 5 rebounds, and assist. Shot 50%, hit 2 of 3 from downtown, had 2 steals. Overall in the season for Quick, 8 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. Shooting 35%, 28 from 3, 79 at the line, which is low for him. But tonight he was good. He found his shot a little bit tonight with those 2 triples. Played 21 minutes. He closed the game. When we talk about Thibs and his wacky substitution patterns, we mean things like the amount of times he'll run a guy out there in a row, like the minutes in a row, the consecutive minutes. Quickley played the last 14 minutes of this game, man. So, out there on a treadmill. But I did like the way he played. I thought his defense on the ball was good tonight. But mainly, it's like I've been saying with Quickley this year. I think I like him off the ball better than I do on the ball. A lot more. In the past, it wasn't always like that with me, but I think the way he's playing this year, I think you should always try to get him out on the floor with a Brunson or D Rose. I think that's got to be the way it is. Tonight he closed with Brunson, and he also played some minutes with Rose. You had Rose set him up for that runner in the middle of the lane early fourth quarter. Then you had later RJ set him up for that corner three, driving across the middle there. So when he's got somebody constantly setting him up, he's more efficient, and he's just simply not trying to do too much. And I think that could help with his efficiency. I think Quickley at this point is who he is. I'm not saying he can't get better. He can, but I don't think we're going to get anything crazy from IQ. I think he's just a good player to have come off the bench and score some points. And that's really the case with a lot of these players, man. Again, you know my take. I just think a lot of these guys are decent. I don't think any of them are great. Even the guys in the mid-3. Right? So, I got no complaint on Tom Thibodeau tonight. I think Thibs, listen, he continues to experiment and get creative with these lineups, and that's what we ask of a lot with him, right? We want him to get creative, and I think he continued. He's starting Sims some games at the 5. Other games, like tonight, he went with Hartenstein, as I continue to botch his name at least once an episode. Hartenstein, there it is. The way Breen says it has got me thrown off because they changed it like after the third game or something. Hartenstein provides a lot of spacing out there for the other guys. You can see it. It's pretty visible. He also has a better basketball IQ right now than Sims. So there are some games where it looks like Sims is the better option. It really depends on who you're playing, because Sims can move around easier and he can go up and guard the perimeter. But Hartenstein has the better IQ. He's the more mature rebounder, but I still like Sims on the boards more. But he gives a lot more spacing in the offense, and that's why he's kind of a Thibs guy. Thibs likes him. But, Thibs has been mixing and matching lately, and he's trying to see who fits best with the small ball lineup with Obi and Randle front court. He had IQ, Rose, Fournier, Obi, Hartenstein out there a lot tonight, especially in the first half. I don't love that lineup, but then he went small, and he used a lot of Brunson, Grimes. I loved Grimes' minutes tonight. He went Brunson, Grimes, RJ, Obi, Randle. And that worked very effectively. They run the floor. They play that positionless nature of the modern game. But yeah, Grimes was out there looking healthy, moving around. You're getting wing defense with him and RJ out there. You get an offensive punch with a lot of guys able to score out there, able to move off the ball. So I like that lineup, and I think that might be the one you need to put out there with Obi and Randle, because it gives you, a lot of offense, and it gives you that athletic run and gun style of play. But the one thing that will be interesting is this Derrick Rose thing with Thibs. It's kind of become a situation right now. You had Rose yesterday being vocal to the media, talking about his playing time and how he's in no man's land, or I think he said like the unknown or whatever it was. And then you had Thibs firing back, saying, we've talked and blah, blah, blah. And saying how you got to play well to get minutes. That's what Thibs said. To me, it's weird because Derrick Rose, you had him in the preseason. I remember talking about, play the young kids and hyping up Deuce McBride. And now he's kind of complaining about his minutes. It's like, you're a lot older. You're beat up. You got a lot of mileage underneath you. It kind of looks slower out there on that first step. So you're not playing great this year. I mean, yeah. I just wonder how it shapes up, and I wonder if we eventually see Deuce crack some minutes. I doubt it, but Derrick Rose is still important. They're still going to need him to be better than he is. So we'll see how that works. But I don't know. It's pretty visible how different he looks out there. Sometimes father time just catches up with you. But I think that those are all my thoughts. I think we'll wrap this up. nothing much to do. Yeah, I don't want to take too much from a Pistons game. It just feels like a preseason game. But the wins count. The wins count, no matter how they come. The Knicks score 121 points. They shoot 45% from the field. Again, 25% from three, but 93% at the line. 23 assists. But they take care of the Pistons yet again. They've got the OKC Thunder next in a midday matinee on Sunday. 12 in the afternoon game. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, what we will do is head to break. Then we'll return with our question of the day trivia. Then from there, we will wrap it up. Stay with us. Be right back. We also have a website now for BD4. If you go to BD4blog.com, you can find the blog, the podcast links, and also where to find me on social media. Just go to BD4blog.com. Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, RJ Carbone, and you are listening to BD4, episode 432. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, and remember, you can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many other listening platforms. You can also watch it on Spotify and watch it on YouTube if you'd like to. Give us a like, subscribe to these episodes, give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. We are currently a 5-star podcast and would like to keep it that way. And be sure to share these episodes. Share them on social media with your friends. All right, damn it. Thank you. Let's get to it. Let's get to the question of the day and wrap this one up. All right. So, for this episode 432, our NYY-NYK-MMA question of the day is: who scored the final point of the 1999 championship game between the Knicks and the Spurs? Who scored the final point of the 1999 championship game between the Knicks and the Spurs? Let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode. If you don't get it correct, but you at least attempt to make an answer, I will let you know what the answer is. I'll DM you after the next show. Guys, thank you. One last time. Who scored the final point of the 99 championship game between the Knicks and Spurs? Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm going to try to have an episode out this weekend, the latest early next week, on recapping UFC 281 and what went down. So that starts tomorrow. This episode should be out by tomorrow, Saturday, November 12th, 2022. And yeah, so go Knicks. They are now 6-6, dead even 500. They look like a different team every single game, but that's what we're going to get. We're going to get the mixed bag, and again, the best you can hope for this team is to just continue to be good enough to get into the play-in tournament, the charity playoffs. I saw somebody call it that on Twitter. I love that. Get into the charity playoffs and continue to win. And just hope at any point in time this year that some star becomes available and Leon Rose actually pulls the trigger. So that's the goal, because we're not going to be anything more than 500 without a star. We need a star. Hopefully We could trade for one mid-season, but hopefully, if it has to be, we go after one in free agency or something, then it's going to be about us getting some wins and looking more attractive. So that's it. I'll see you guys after the next episode or in the next episode. All right. I'm your host, RJ. You're listening to episode 432 of the podcast, BD4, and I'll see you in the next one. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.